Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Factorio, Brent the Game. I'm here again with Zenith, and we've been working away. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't shoot me.
Sorry.
That took like half my health. That's gnarly. Anyway, you may remember the train station that Zenith and I built last episode. We deconstructed that because we think we've come up with something better. Now, I was playing around with a few ideas, and so has Zenith, and we've come up with what we think is the best of every world. So, here it is on screen now, and it's in nearly its final form. We've still got some more stamping to do. Obviously, the stations are still half incomplete. We've got a little bit of work to do there. We need more resources.
Yeah, we need to up the production of the factory. Get serious with it.
Get serious, yeah, well, I thought that's what we were, serious, but apparently not. Oop, that belt's backwards. Yeah, my little spaghetti factory is not keeping up now. We've put a serious strain on it. Anyway, so basically the concept behind the station is that a train can access any platform. It can do so quickly, and then it can leave quickly, allowing the next train to come in very, very fast. So what we have down here is the input. Now this is going to lead to, oops, I went past it, a set of stackers out here that are going to run horizontally. These we'll put in later, they're not particularly difficult. And then what happens is they come into this U-Butte junction that Zenith signaled up and designed. Basically it allows for up to 4 trains in ideal circumstances to run to 4 different stations at a time. More often than not, it's 1 or 2 moving through the junction. From then, it moves up into a station, gets unloaded. From there, it then gets onto an outbound path. So, for example, for this station, it's this path here. For this station, it's this path here, and then goes on its merry way. Now, the real beauty of it is that this signal here allows the train to clear the station very quickly, and then the train pathfinding takes over, and it figures out, it'll be sitting here going, okay, which station, and then when one clears, it'll be able to find that station and go directly to it. Have I covered it, do you think?
I think so. It basically allows us to get the trains in really quick and then get them out really quick to clear the path for another one. So the idea behind it was to get some pretty decent throughput. And I think we have achieved that. We did run a test rig, and it actually worked really, really well. So,
exceedingly well. We had a whole heap of trains on the line. We had it pretty much deadlocked, and it worked flawlessly throughout. So that was a really, really good sign. So I think in scale testing, this is going to work okay, because the 262s are very, very large trains, and that's what I'm planning to run. So. Oh, you're kidding me. We're missing 2 steel chests. I'm going to craft them by hand. Yeah, that's right. And I think that, yeah, it's going to stand up to it. They're a little bit slow to move. However, I think the way we've designed this, it's going to work very, very nicely. And it was we spent a couple of hours on this. Because we played around with a few different concepts, and we had one, and I wasn't completely happy with it because it only had 1 input line. So we come up with this, or Zenith come up with this, and I just kind of ran around, did all the random building. And yeah, so that's that. Now, each of these stations will give us 6 compressed blue belts, in theory. Now, the compression isn't perfect, so naturally we're going to take that from all 4 stations, and then we're going to go take it into the belt balancer of doom. Now, I'm going to zoom right in, because this thing is awesome. Oh, we cross the rail. Now, this belt balancer is going to balance 32 belts, and it is a Madzuri creation, transplanted into this world by Zenith, and basically, well, actually, I'll let you describe it, Zenith, because you built the damn thing.
Okay, so
you probably understand it a bit better than I do. I understand in broad terms, but Not exactly.
Alrighty, so basically it is a 32 belt balancer, although we only have 24 input lines. And so what we've done, if you look up the top, is to run the excess lines out of it and then straight back into it. And this allows us to basically bypass making a direct 24 belt balancer, which would be quite difficult and gnarly to do, and allows us to take basically anything from a 32 right down to a 16 just by running the inputs back in. So the way in which it works is you can sort of see, it's a bit difficult when it's on its side, but you have these first 4 belts. Now this first bit here is a 16 belt balancer, and then you've got one stacked directly above it as well. So you're going to have...
Here is pretty much the middle of the build. So down south, this is just a 16 belt balancer, and then we have another 16 belt balancer stacked above it. Go on. I just thought I'd clarify that point.
So we have 2 16 belt balancers. So we have 16 perfectly balanced belts on either side, but they're not mixed yet. So that's when this second bit comes into action. And so from each 4 belts that are coming out, it takes half of that and crosses it over upwards to the corresponding line. So essentially what it's doing is just crossing half of the output of each of the 16 belt balancers. And that gives us a perfect 32 at the end of the day.
Hopefully.
In theory. In theory.
Well, it seemed to work okay during testing, so I can't wait to turn it on, start running some 262s into this. Because from here, what's going to happen is the lines will come out here somewhere, and then this is going to become the furnace area somewhere around here, maybe up a little bit. And the next thing we'll need to fit in is the copper. Have you had any thoughts about where we should put that?
I was actually thinking stick it right next to the iron. In terms of the train station, of course. Stick it right there.
So just stamp it down right next to it.
Yeah.
Then we have issues with the junctions and the stackers, and we wouldn't have room for all the stackers, because I'd like to run some pretty big stackers on this. Ideally enough room for... Well, we've got a bit of height here. We can go down to the main line a fair way. The only issue is then getting a junction built so that it can then interface with the main line.
The other option is running that four rails that are just south of us, running them down diagonally a little bit so that we have a little bit more room. So we'll play around with it. I think we should have enough room to stick in some pretty decent sized stackers there.
So the junction will probably determine how far or how close we can get to the main line with that one. Because after we get the copper in, so I think Zedith is talking about putting it here. After we do that, then we can start running the factory up here. And it's built on a little bit of a diagonal at the moment, which is going to present an interesting challenge, I think.
Yeah, although it will allow you could have that diagonal bit of rail going up towards the east. You could have rail bits coming in to sort of insert specific resources as the build extends upwards, which is quite a cool sort of concept.
Well, here's the other idea, right? The iron and the copper run up the western coast, and then the factory is built to the right.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm not sure about that one. Because you get... The problem with running like large-scale buses is you really notice the 50% throughput loss. Like, you'll have a full 8-lane belt, and then suddenly you'll only have a 4-lane belt. And then suddenly you'll only have a 2-lane belt. And it's going to take some careful design if we do it that way. Obviously, green circuits will be the first thing that gets built. And I'm thinking of going with either 2 or 3 green circuit builds, and then moving up into red, blue, before moving on to the different constituents of the rocket. Which actually leads me into the next question, or the next thought, is where do I put the refinery? Because that's going to have to be pretty sizable as well.
Hmm. That is a really good question.
Because I could always turn the southern base into a giant refinery.
Or if you look at stone 1, which is just up to the right,
Yep.
if you put it in the gap just below there, sort of in between where the diagonal rail and straight rail is, you might be able to fit it in there where there's that bit of stone and iron there.
I did notice that, and it might work, because you'd have to run another station, and remember that north-south line will need to be upgraded to a 4-lane main line as well, as part of the ongoing upgrades. What are you building? Are you building a stacker? Yeah, let's build the stacker.
I can't stand idle.
Well, this the planning I think is good. So I was saying that this. Oh dear, I've got these little love chests of wood.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're horrible.
Well, I figure we may as well burn them or do something constructive with them. Oh, not with the. Oh dear. Okay. Yep. Come and dump it in here.
It's all good. Got them. Yeah, so I think in terms of space we should be okay. It'll just be sort of careful planning and making sure that you're mindful of where you do need to run a 4-line, etc.
This base is going to take some serious space.
I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. I think there's a lot of I think there's a fair bit of thought that we need to put into where everything's going to go, because I'm seriously concerned about how much space we have to play with. It's just, I don't think it's enough. I'm kind of thinking that where I've put the solar...
If you really need to, you can do stuff like have circuits made at a different location, bring them in by train, which frees up a bit of space. But it just sort of depends what direction you want to go with it.
See, that's the thing though, I don't particularly want to, because that adds in an additional logistical challenge. This way, when I've got everything in the one place, it's just, get it from A to B, not get it from A to B, from B to C, back to C to D, and then from D that back to A again. Like that, that I think presents some challenges that, could be interesting. Ooh, the engineering train's back. Let me snag it before it racks off again. Because I want to load it up full of random stuff, so I can take it off my hands. It did bring back more blue belt. Do we need more blue belt for anything?
I think we're pretty okay. Just say yes.
Okay. I'm just sending some stuff down south. Alrighty. Take that. Personally, I was kind of surprised, not surprised, at how much resources this is taking. Because I knew it would take a lot, but we've got a, what was it, 24-lane belt in there. So for it to go kind of, well, you take it 2 spaces and you've used 50 belt. You take it 4 spaces and you used 100.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources that go into it, and that's one of the benefits of. Hopefully later on you can switch to underground belts, because they don't take lubricant, and all these transport belts do take lubricant, so that's one little hint to sort of cut down on resource cost if you want to.
Nice. So we really need to try and get this junction in somewhere around here, possibly even a little bit sooner, because we don't want it getting too close to this this T-junction on the left. So we just mock something in, something like this. And I'm going to go vertical here because we're not going to have the space to go horizontal, I don't think.
Oh, Root, I've come up with a fantastic idea.
Another one.
I have.
See,
If you run it off this central bit here,
hold on.
so you run an output somehow coming up through here, and then you split it, and it can run along here. If I wasn't messing up the belts, and then it can loop around into the stacker.
I like my idea better. You want to know why?
What's that?
2 junctions are better than 1.
True.
This way, I'm hoping that wherever the trains are coming from, they'll just go into the nearest stacker, and the stacker will kind of sort it into the appropriate station from there. And also, it just takes a little bit of pressure off these junctions. I figure having 2, it makes it a little bit nicer.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, come help. Because how's the best way, do you think, of getting this in? Would you combine it into one line, into the stacker, or would you keep it as, say, 2 into the stacker? I think 2.
Yeah. I think that's probably best.
So basically, that's going to be there, and that's going to be somewhere there. Interrupt me if I'm getting it wrong. I think it's actually a little bit funny because we did all that work on the previous station design, and I bet you that we got a million comments on how we could make it better, and then we've gone and torn it down, completely changed the concept and gone in and well, I think it's a similar direction. I think that the work we did there kind of started this thinking.
Yeah.
And started us heading towards that idea of, you know, controlling where the trains can and can't go. Now this...
It's better.
Actually, that needs to stay there. Bugger. There we go. That works. I can get it in there. Nice.
It's going to look, I think, pretty awesome once. I mean, I think we discussed in one of the earlier episodes, you're thinking of having around 20 trains, 20 sort of iron trains coming in. When these are fully sort of loaded and good to go, it'll look pretty mean. You're going to have a lot of throughput on these resources, which is what we're aiming for.
Well, we worked it at what, 72k per resource? That's under
so.
Ideal conditions. Uh-oh, I'm struggling here. Oh, that works perfectly. What was I doing? I have no idea. Ah, I see. This is only 1 lane gap now.
Yep.
Gotcha. But the great news is, oh, maybe I can't blueprint that.
I'm not sure what we're doing here.
I'm making it up as I go along, that's for sure. What are you doing? Yeah, like that. See? Perfect. Then we just need to do the same.
Oh, we're just off here.
What do you mean just off? Have we ballsed it up? It looks too close.
Yeah, signalling that's going to be a bit difficult.
Yeah, okay. let's deconstruct this. Alright, well, Zenith and I are going to keep thinking about this, because I don't think this is something we can make on the fly, actually. We'll need to go back to the drawing board there and make sure the signalling works. So thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you in the next episode.